All right, man. We got another video. Man. And by the title, you can see you're only two things to worry about. Maybe three, but really two things to worry about when manifesting. The third one is kind of automatic if you really want to get what you say you want to materialize. But the other two things, which we sometimes try to dictate and control, which kind of puts our manifestation further away from us and just kind of increases that separation between us, is what God is trying to do for you, but you're making it harder for yourself. So let's get into this, man. Let's get into this video. Let me get my pen. All right. So I'm also gonna like read a Bible verse that explains how manifestation is instant and basically just kind of go over all the steps I outlined here, how it kind of relates to a story about Jesus healing somebody in the Bible and how Jesus works through you with the power of God. But if you don't have that third thing, which should be instant, which should be hardwired, then you ain't gonna get what you want. Plain and simple. So we have you. Now this is you. When you're trying to manifest something, your only job when you're trying to dictate what you're trying to manifest is to know what you want to do and why you want to do it. That's it. That's it. Your only job is to know what I want to manifest and why I want to manifest it. So this can be I want this girl back because she loves me and be a perfect couple. I want money because I want to help my family. I love traveling the world. I'm traveling the world. Whatever the case may be, whatever the example is, that's all your job is. Now, God's job is the job that we all try to do, which is kind of understandable because we kind of see the physical realm, even though all three realms are coexisting at the same time. God's job is when plus how something materializes. God controls the when you get what you want or what you have and how it comes about. Now, the problem is us as humans and us being tricked to thinking with these monkey brains, the logic side, we try to dictate all four of these points. We try to know what we want to do, why we want to do it, how it's supposed to come, when it's going to come, the form, all that stuff. And not realizing that keeps us away from it. That is us trying to do God's job. And us in these human vessels, we only conceive logic. God is illogical because God is infinite. He's outside these vessels. He's not trapped and conformed to a certain way of thinking. So when we try to do God's job, we're doing ourselves a disservice because we're limiting the possibilities of how something can happen rather than leaving it infinite to God. And for example, this is how I was before too. I wanted money. You know what I mean? I wanted money. And I knew why I wanted money. But I try to dictate all the time how I should get the money and when I should get the money. And that's your ego. You know what I mean? And your ego is going to be controlled by the 3D reality. So even when if you are doing the right things, the 3D is your old self. So it has to conform to your new way of thinking and what you want. So even if you are doing the right things, but you're not seeing it on the outside, you tend to react to it, which then slows your manifestation down even more and pulls it away from you because you're trying to do God's job and dictate when and how it should happen. But you have to learn that manifestation is instant, which I'm going to tell you in that story. And the third thing that you should have, obviously, is faith. Without faith, without belief that you already have what you say you have, because all planes of existence are existing, coexisting right now simultaneously, the spiritual plane, the mental plane, and the physical plane. If you don't have this, you're not going to get it. And then you're going to have to keep on working harder and doing God's job. And God's just looking at you like, okay. This is how God is with us. This is how God is. God's like, you think you know better than me? Go ahead. Go ahead. And you're like, all right, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. God's like watching you bring yourself out like, look at this nigga. Like, go ahead, sure. And you just like, it's like you're on a treadmill. It's like, I'm doing a lot, but I'm getting nowhere. And God's like, all you gotta do is be still. You know what I mean? But then I'm gonna get into the Bible verse, and I'm not reading the Bible verse for a religious aspect. This is purely metaphysical. You know what I mean? And After I start interpreting the Bible this way, you realize the answers is right here all the time, but it was just how we was taught to learn it. And you can read Neville Goddard, you can Abdullah, anybody who's in that content. It's all kind of the same stuff, whether it's Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, the Quran. It's all the same stuff, and that actually even tells you strongly more about the power of God and how infinite He is, because God can materialize Himself in so many different ways on these physical planes, whether that's through us people as vessels, whether that's through the lectures and teachings that people learn. All that are sprinkles and particles of God, and that is just showing you God's power in real time without you having to think it's a deity in the sky. But this is a Bible verse, you know what I mean? I don't know if y'all can see, which I probably can't see, but we in John. So we got John chapter 4, verse 46 to 54, if you want to look it up yourself, just for proof or whatever. So it says, so Jesus came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had come out to Judea and to Galilee, he went to him, implored him to come down and heal his son, for he was at a point of death. His son was at a point of death. Then Jesus said to him, unless you people see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. We're going to get to that. The nobleman said to him, Sir, come down before my child dies. Jesus said to him, go your way, your son lives. So the man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him, and he went his way. And as he was now going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, Sir, your son has been healed. Then he inquired to them the hour of when he got better, because the guy was making his way back to his house to see his son. So he's like, when exactly did he get healed? And then the servant said, yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in which Jesus said to him, your son lives, and he himself believed in his whole household. So I'm going to give you my interpretation of that and what I know, especially now doing the research. So, and how it just represents to us in these realities. So the father had a sick son. He heard about the wonders that Jesus already did previously. So he said, I'm going to meet Jesus because I know if I get to Jesus, he can save my son and heal me from death. So he met Jesus and he told Jesus, like, please save my son. Jesus knew he was pleading. Jesus knew how distraught he was. But Jesus also knew he had faith, but also how he was scared that his son might actually die. Jesus in this story is representing Christ consciousness, the access, the gateway through the all-intelligence God that's all around us. That's the whole universe. So the God told Jesus, can you heal my son? Jesus said, unless you see signs and wonders, you will never believe. And that can relate to us, how we want a manifestation. We want to get something so bad, and we already have it once we tell ourselves we have it or we want it. But then we have to look at the outside reality to dictate if we're doing things right. We go through steps and we feel good, but if you don't see something that reflects that in the 3D right away, then we think we're doing something wrong. But us thinking we're doing something wrong automatically gets us out of that state of thinking. So if I'm trying to get money and I'm like, oh, I'm rich already, I'm rich. But then I go out and look at my bank account in the 3D reality, my old bank account, because my old way of thinking, and I see that I'm not rich, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not rich. Like, where's it at? Where's it at? Bam. Now I'm not materializing the wealth no more. Now I'm materializing back to my old way of thinking of me not having money, because I'm looking at the world for signs and wonders, as God said in the Bible. So then he said, Jesus, please, he's going to die. Jesus told him, go on, your son lives. And it says, so then the man believed, which is the faith, which is the knowing that when you say you want something, you have it right then and there. And then as the servant walked down, not seeing his son physically, but believing that when Jesus told him at that moment his son is healed, I'm going to eventually get back to my house, my son is going to be healed. His servants met him before he got to the house and said, sir, your son has been healed. The fever left him. And he said, when exactly did this happen? Just to make sure, even though he already believed. And the servant said, at the 7th hour. And that was the exact same time that Jesus told him his son was healed. Even though he didn't get there at that moment to his house, at that moment it was done. And how that interprets into like our life is, once you say, like me personally, like my biggest thing was money. Once you say, I have this dollar amount, You have it right then and there until you decide otherwise you don't. You can't look at the 3D to dictate if what you're doing is right, if everything is unfolding, because like I said, you're in these logical human vessels to where you have to find a reason for everything. But all things are possible under God. So you have to let God work. So once you know what you want and you say it at that moment, just as the nobleman was walking back to his house and the 3D didn't reflect it right away until he met his servant, what you want already exists right now. You have it right now until the 3D reflects that. But by the time the 3D reflects it, it'll be God's time to reveal it to you. But just because it's not unveiled to you doesn't mean it's not happening right now. If we had a bird's eye view, we can see God work. If you say, okay, I want something right now, you can just like zoom out like on some Google Earth type shit. Then you can see how God is moving this piece to that piece to this piece to that piece. Somebody in Japan moving to this piece. All that to get to you. Everything's happening for you. Whether good that we perceive good and bad, God sees one. God is infinite. So that is proof right there that manifestation is infinite. But you only have to control the three aspects of your part: what you want, why you want it, and your belief in knowing that once you said you want that, it's done. And then once you leave the rest up to God, it's easy peasy. But we got to understand, as long as you get what you want, why does it matter how it comes? As long as you get what you want, why do you got to put all this work in to get it?